Hi everyone, welcome to Carolyn Talks Podcast YouTube channel. I'm your host, Carolyn Hayes, film critic and journalist. And this is the podcast / YouTube channel where I speak to film creatives around the world about their work, the industry, and what inspires them. And today, this is my first interview for the 2024 New York Asian Film Festival. And I'm joined by the cast and creative team of the Thai, I want to say heartfelt comedy drama, Not Friends. And I am very thankful for them for joining me today. So today we have Director Atta Hemwadee, producer Baz Poonpiriya, lead actor Anthony Buisseret, who plays Pei, and lead actress Thitiya Jirapornsilp, who plays Boki. So thank you so everyone for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the film. I got a bit teary-eyed at the end. I was saying I was not going to cry, and I got emotional. You guys got me there at the end. But this film is interesting because it's geared towards the youth. It's geared it's about teenagers in school and their experiences. But as any adult, I think would be able to relate to it because we miss our friends in school. We miss our years in school. And so my first question is going to be for Director Atta. Talk to me about creating this story about the people in our years in school that we thought were our friends, but actually were our friends. Because I think that's kind of the overarching theme of this film, to cherish the people in our school lives because we might underestimate what they mean to us at the end.
ช่วยนิด
ได้ก็คือเขาถามว่าแบบ creative process เป็นยังไงที่จะเล่าเรื่องเกี่ยวกับว่าเพื่อนที่เราคิดว่าแบบว่าคือก็ตีมเรื่องอะไรที่แบบว่าคิดว่าไม่ได้สนิทแล้วก็จริงๆแล้วมันสนิทอะไรอย่างเงี้ยเล่าว่าแบบ
คือ
ยังไงอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
แรกเริ่มผมตั้งใจที่จะทำหนังเรื่องแรกเป็นหนังนักเรียนเพราะผมกลัวว่าเดี๋ยวผมแก่กว่านี้แล้วเดี๋ยวผมจะเล่าเรื่องนี้ไม่ได้แล้วทีนี้มันก็ตั้งต้นมาจากเพื่อนๆในชีวิตนี่แหละครับแล้วก็เลยค่อยๆเขียนขึ้นมาเป็นเรื่องนี้
Yeah, at first I would like to make my first feature film a student film because I feel like when I get older than this I wouldn't remember it anymore, and I wrote this film based on all the friends that before that I have. Yeah, that's why I made this one.
แล้วก็ความสนิทไม่สนิทจริงๆคือจริงๆเรื่องเนี้ยผมอยากพูดถึงเรื่องคนที่มันผ่านเข้ามาในชีวิตแล้วก็ใช้เวลาร่วมกันมากกว่ามันก็เลยมาเป็นเพื่อนที่ไม่สนิทกันครับ
So actually the focus of this film is not really like whether it's a close friend or not close friend. It's more like I would like to focus on people who comes into our lives, and sometimes they say like they pass by kind of. Yeah.
I got that sense from the film because it made me think back to my days in secondary school. I'm from the Caribbean, and it made me think back to the girls that I went to school with, and those that I remember that I think about a lot, and then the ones that I don't really think about often. So the film really made me think about the girls that I haven't thought about in years.
ทำให้เขารู้สึกแบบนึกถึงเพื่อนเขาสมัยเรียนกันตอนที่ดูอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
ผมก็เป็นความตั้งใจที่อยากให้รู้สึกอย่างนั้นเหมือนกันนะครับ
Yeah, it's my intention for the viewer to reminisce to their younger life and all the friends that they had before.
And for you, Anthony, this film is interesting for one thing because your introduction to us as the character of Pei is rather violent. And he seems like you sympathize with him because he's being bullied, but then he takes a very drastic action where he cuts someone. And there's a point in the third act of the film where he kind of steps back into that position where you can see where his reaction to being challenged is violence. And there's a moment where he has to step back. So I want to ask you about playing these two sides of Pei as a character where he has this very latent sense of anger and vengeance, but then also the character that we get to know through the film who is empathetic and who's getting to know Joe as he's making the student film.
I love this character because I feel like it's a very real character, and I feel like I can relate to him a lot, and that's what makes me understand him and get to him really easily. Like when he gets mad, he's violent, he's nice. I can really like switch it because I relate to him a lot, and and yeah, that's it. And makes
Hmm.
it easy when I play it.
He's interesting because I kind of saw him as a potential cult leader. And I say that because he's very charismatic. He's very convincing when he really makes a decision to stick to something. He's like, I'm gonna get everyone on my team. I'm gonna get this whole entire school to come behind this plan to make this
Yeah.
student film, and they're rousing. And I'm just like, he's charismatic and he could be a cult leader if he wanted to. But there's also the sense that he also knows that he doesn't really believe what he's saying. So talk to me about those scenes with Pei, because those are the scenes where I, as the audience, I know that he's not being truthful and he's not being honest, especially with himself. But the way he's he's able to lead people and get them to follow him. Talk to me about working with Director Atta to figure out those scenes with Pei, because those are really interesting scenes, especially for a young actor
Yeah.
to play.
Actually, at first I didn't really get how to play as Pei, but then I asked Pieta, and he said he's a loser who's dumb, but has to act he's smart at the same time. So when he said that, it makes me easy when I play it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's what we would call street smart. He may not be book smart, but he's
a true
street
actor.
smart.
He is. That's it.
Yeah, and for you, Thitiya, playing Bokeh she's completely she kind of reminded me not of me but of other people that I knew in my life, where she's very protective of the people that she cares about, and her whole goal of making the student film with Pei is to protect the idea of Joe, and not only for herself but also for Joe's mother and the people that Joe loved and cared for. So what was that what drew you to playing this character, the sense of protection that she has for the people in her lives? Because that's what really drew me to this character and really got me to really fall in love with this character, because she's just so protective.
คือเพราะว่าในคาแรคเตอร์ของโบเก้เนี่ยเหมือนเป็นคนที่แบบคอยปกป้องโจแล้วก็เนาะเพื่อที่จะทำหนังเรื่องเนี้ยเพราะว่าเขารู้สึกว่าแคร์ที่จะปกป้องโจแล้วก็แม่ของโจแล้วก็อะไรพวกเนี้ยเขาก็เลยถามว่าดูแบบเข้าถึงคาแรคเตอร์ยังไงที่แบบว่าเป็นคาแรคเตอร์ที่คอยปกป้องมีถึงโจอะไรประมาณนี้เขาแบบ
หนูรู้สึกว่าโบเก้เขาก็แบบเป็นเด็กมัธยมคือหนูตีความว่าเขาก็เป็นเด็กมัธยมคนหนึ่งที่เขารักเพื่อนมากๆแล้วโจก็เป็นคนที่สำคัญมากๆในชีวิตเขาอะค่ะ
So for me, I think that Bokeh is a high schooler that loves her friend very much, and that's why she did what she did. And being
Yes.
yeah.
เพราะว่าอาจจะเพราะว่าในชีวิตเขาอะหนูคิดว่าโบเก้เป็นคนที่มีกำแพงในชีวิตค่อนข้างสูงทำให้เขาเปิดรับคนเข้ามาในชีวิตค่อนข้างยาก
Because Bokeh has like a wall to separate her and other people, and it's hard for her to accept new people in her lives. So once someone is in, they're in, and that's why like Joe means so much to her.
Yeah, I think she's a very discerning young woman, in that she knows immediately that she can't trust Pei. And she just has this sixth sense of like, you're up to no good. And she joined the film production not only to protect Pei's memory, but because she wanted to make sure that Pei didn't step out of line. And that comes to a head closer to the end of the second act, where she confronts him and says, you're always out for yourself. So I want you to tell me a bit about how were you as an actress able to tap into the more, I guess you could say, confrontational side of Bokeh, because Bokeh is a character who kind of like sits not in the sidelines, but she's an observer. She watches how people behave, but when she finds that she needs to, she challenges people, especially Pei. She doesn't have any problem confronting him, even if it's in public.
ก็คือเขาบอกว่าปกติอะโบเก้ก็จะเหมือนแบบคอยสังเกตอะไรใช่ไหมใช่แต่ว่าทีเนี้ยเหมือนเขาอยากจะถามว่าแบบใบปอแบบอินกับจังหวะที่โบเก้จะต้องแบบต้องฉากต้องไฟต้องไฟใช่ทำยังไงถึงแบบเข้าถึงคาแรคเตอร์ตรงช่วงนั้นอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
ซีนนั้นค่อนข้างยากเพราะว่ามันใช้พลังงานเยอะมากๆ
That scene it was very, very difficult because it really drained my energy.
แล้วแต่ว่าหนูอะรู้สึกว่าแบบ ถ้าเราลองตามคิดตามตัวละครเขาจริงๆอะเขาก็ต้องการที่จะแบบปกป้องเพื่อนของเขาอะอย่างที่หนูบอกอะค่ะว่าตัวละครทุกตัวมันมีความเทาของตัวเองแล้วทุกการกระทำของเขามันก็มีเหตุผล
So she said that she just tried to imagine herself in Boke's shoe and because like she said before that every character is very grayish, it's like human nature to act that way when being challenged by what Boke was challenged.
You said it was draining for you. Is it because that made you have to, because anger requires a lot of energy, and I think it's the most energy draining emotion we have. So in having to tap into that setup, is that what made you exhausted during the filming of that scene? Because anger just makes us like, it just saps everything.
มันก็เหนื่อยค่ะ มันก็ยากแต่ว่า
ใบปอต่อยอากาศทุกวัน
ใช่
ตรงนั้น
Yeah, so she said that it was very difficult and like very draining, but so Atta, the director said that
เหมือนชกลม
he was
เพื่อให้แบบ
ill ใช่ไหม
ไม่ใช่เพื่อให้เหมือนแบบ
กายเรามีแบบ
กระชับกระ
energy
ชับ
มากขึ้
คือน เหมือนว่า
อ๋อ
ใบปอปกติอาจจะเป็นคนที่หวานกว่าโบเก้
เ
แล้วก็เลยต้องแบบว่า
ต้องเหมือน
ชกลม
ใช่แบบ
เพื่อให้แบบ
ปล่อยไปด้วยแล้วพูดไปด้วยอะค่ะ
ใช่
เหมือนเราจะเจอน้ำหนักที่มันถูกต้องสำหรับตัวละคร
Okay. So Atta said that Baipor always have to try to punch and then say the line at the same time to try to find the rhythm of Boke because normally Baipor is a very sweet person and Boke is like another type of person that needs a different way of delivering the
It's a
line.
method acting.
Okay, I get it. For you, producer, I'm not gonna ignore you. So there's a line actually in Joel's journal that I thought was very interesting, where he says imagination is more important than knowledge. As someone who has directing experience, like you've directed your own film, Bad Genius, you were stepping into the producer role for the first time for this film. How did you mesh imagination as a director and learning the knowledge of the film industry to helping you to become a producer for this film? Because the purpose of a producer is to support the director, whereas from before as a director, you were the one getting the support. So talk a bit about using the imagination and knowledge of the director to become a producer for this project.
For me, that's the most challenging part as a producer. And as you know, it is my first time, so there are a lot of times that we went out and shoot, and I have to remind myself that for this movie, I'm just the producer, not the director. So we have to talk a lot, right? About like what you want for this film, what is your vision for the film, and the way to tell the message. And like I said, I have to follow like his direction, and I have to trust him like wholeheartedly for this version of the film.
And I found there's a similarity with Bad Genius and with this film, and I'm not comparing them, but it's something that I think is very interesting where that directors do, where they give young characters very complex stories and very complex characteristics. Like the characters in Not Friend is, they're so like as Thitiya was just saying, they're in the gray area. They're neither good, they're not bad. And that's usually the type of characteristics that we get for grown characters. But these characters, they're not villains, they're not heroes. They're teenagers who have their own motivations and their own purposes for doing things. And I think that's an interesting to see in a film like this. We get such complex characters for teenagers. So I want both you and Atta to talk about developing characters like these and giving it to teenagers, because I think it's important that we get to see teenagers as like fully realized characters who are not sinister, but like they make some really big mistakes and don't some really bad decisions.
I mean, if you ask me, in my opinion, I think like me and Atta actually have a really different characterization in real life. I mean, Atta is really sweet guy. Like everybody in the shoot like love him a lot. Me the other way. But anyway, I think the one thing that we can see eye to eye is that the way we see human. I think Atta had like perspective of like how we want to portray like people in the film. We don't want to make them like too good or too bad, because that's not like people. People take great scale, and I think that's the same thing that we can share together. Even though he have a more positive way to portray those characters in the film.
ไม่เป็นไรก็
ได้อยากพูดเลยไหม
อืม
เกี่ยวกับ develop character ยังไงก็เป็น
คือตัวผมมาคิดว่าทุกคนในโลกเนี้ยมันก็ไม่มันก็จะเทาบ้างจะขาวบ้างจะดำบ้างอยู่แล้วฮะไม่ว่าคนนั้นจะเป็นคนนิสัยดีนิสัยดุอะไรอย่างเงี้ยฮะตัวผมก็ทำมันออกมาในแบบที่ผมเชื่อนั่นแหละฮะครับ
Yeah, for me, everyone on this earth, no matter how they are like if they are generous, like if they seem like a generous people, or they get angry a lot or whatever, like everyone has their moments of, white, I mean good, bad, and then gray area. So I just want to develop the character that I believe in.
Yeah, we're all like very complex beings, and I think that's another theme I think for the film that really stands out to me is that a lot of the things that lead us into the gray areas are situations that we put ourselves in that spins out of our control. For instance, for me I would say the tagline for this film would be oh what a tangle, oh what a what a tangle web we weave when we first practice to deceive. And everything gets out of control because of Pei. Pei tells a lie, and everything just starts to snowball, and that's where the gray area starts to come for him. And I want for my last question for the four of you, I want you to talk a bit now about if there was anything that your characters could do differently in the film. For you, Thitiya and Anthony, what do you think they should have done differently or could have done differently to make things easier for themselves? And for you, Director Atta, I want you to talk about what if there was something that you could have done differently with the story, what it would have been, because I think the film is really about like if we have second chances, how would we correct the mistakes that we made?
วันนี้ก่อนได้ไหม
Honestly, I've got no idea at all. I don't know. Probably being honest to myself a bit more and honest with people around. Because I feel like I've been lying the whole time, and no one was really like my friend or anything. I just used them to make a film, and I feel like if I was a bit more honest, people would like sympathize me a lot more. And yeah, being more honest is always the answer. Yeah.
And Thitiya, what do you think Boki could have done differently?
ต่างจากตัวละครจะเลือกอะไร
โอเคทำอะไรได้แบบที่ไม่เหมือนในเรื่อง
ไม่เหมือนในเรื่องหมายถึงว่าแบบถ้าโบเก้แบบอ๋อโอเคยากจังเพราะว่าสุดท้ายมันก็มีแบบเหตุผลของมันเนาะ
It's a very difficult question because there are reasons to things that she done
ก็ no way
ปล่อยกันเดียว
But said like to tell Pei that she loves him then
หนูว่าเขาอาจจะถ้าเขาอาจจะ คิดมากกว่านี้โดยที่ไม่ทำลายอนาคตเพื่อน คือมันไม่ใช่หมายถึงว่าเขาทำลายอนาคตทั้งหมด แต่ว่าแบบ ถ้าเขาเป็นคนที่คิดเยอะกว่านี้จริงๆอ่ะเขาคงจะสามารถควบคุมแบบแองเกิลของเขาได้อะ
So I think that Bouquet probably would have thought more carefully before she acted when she was angry, because if she really like a thoughtful person, she would probably not have done what she did, because it affects Bay's future.
And
เขาถาม
เขาถามว่าแบบว่าถ้า something different with the story ก็เพราะว่าเรื่องเป็นเกี่ยวกับ second chance ใช่ไหมก็คิดว่ามันจะเส้นเรื่องอื่นไปนี้ไหม
ผมมันไม่อยากเปลี่ยนความผิดพลาดอะไรของตัวละครในเรื่องนี้เลยครับเพราะว่าผมรู้สึกว่าจริง ๆอ่ะคนเรามันก็ผิดพลาดกันทุกช่วงวัยอะครับแล้วการที่ไม่ว่าจะโบเก้ไม่เห็นค่าอนาคตของเป้หรือการที่เป้จะเห็นแก่ตัวแบบนั้น หรือการที่โจจะเห็นแก่ตัวเหมือนกันผมรู้สึกว่าการได้ทำผิดพลาดในช่วงวัยมัธยม เนี่ยแหละมันเป็นบทเรียนของชีวิตที่มันจะทำให้เราแบบเฮ้ยเราก็จะโตไปเป็นคนที่เราก็เรียนรู้สิ่งเนี้ยฮะ
I wouldn't change anything because every mistakes they make, make them grow, right? Because no matter like okay, maybe she seemed that she didn't think about Pei's future, but that's what you do when you're a high schooler, or like Pei and Joe, they seem selfish, but if we don't make mistake, how can we grow? So mistakes make them grow, and especially mistakes when you make as a high schooler, you grow.
their mistakes are very painful, but but necessary. I know we have to wrap it up, but thank you so much for your time and for taking the time to speak with me after the film. As I said at the beginning, like you managed to make me tear when it was determined not to. So success on that. And I hope you guys have a great festival season.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
ขอบคุณ
Bye.
ครับ
Um,
Bye. Thank you, Jen. So everyone, that was another episode of Carolyn Talks. And this one was my first interview for the 2024 New York Asian Film Festival, where I spoke to the lead actors and creative team of the Thai film Not Friend, written and directed by Atta Hemwadee. This was his debut feature film as a director. He has a lot of experience in the film industry, doing music videos, working as an editor and cinematographer. And this was his first film, and I think he knocked it out apart for his debut film. Thank you so much to producer Baz Poonpiriya for joining us, who was also the director of the film Bad Genius, which is also a terrific film about, I guess you could say, conflicted teenagers. And then also lead actor Buisseret, who joined us, and lead actress Thitiya, Jirapornsilp, who plays the character of Bouquet. And I thank them for taking the time for speaking with me today. It was a very short interview, which is very typical for festival interviews, as you guys know, but I always appreciate every second I get. And you can watch the video version of this on the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@Carolyn_Hines. And other interviews that I'll be doing for the New York Asian Film Festival will be there, as well as those that I've done for previous New York Asian Film Festivals. And you can also go and you can find me on social media at Carrie, CNH12, on Twitter and Instagram. Go to my digital portfolio at r3.com. That's r3.com/Carolyn Hines. You'll find the links for all the podcast episodes, all the YouTube episodes, interviews that I've done for K Crush, American Magazine, work that I've done for Joy Sauce. All of my published work is there. Follow me. And if you would like to, please, you can buy me a cup of coffee or a popcorn through my Buy Me a Coffee link, which is like you can contribute to my work as a freelancer. I also have links to my PayPal there as well. So I hope you really enjoy this interview, and I hope you look forward to more. And feel free to watch all the other ones that I've done for previous film festivals going forward. And until the next episode of Carolyn Talks, everyone, stay safe. Bye.